Hi, a very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf Collectibles. Well, today probably a tale about being cautious of limited editions. So I purchased this 10 years ago today, and I decided to do a video about it. And on opening it, it's probably not as good as what I thought it was when I purchased it. Be interested to know your thoughts. Do you think this was the right thing to do? This is very, very limited. This is number 7 of 14, so it's very exclusive apparently. But as I say, once I got inside it, probably not as good as it should have been. So let me know your thoughts. Anyway, let's get this over to the bench and I'll tell you the story. Well, let me set the scene. So today is the 15th of February, and exactly 10 years ago I was at Locomotion, which is the National Railway Museum's second site in the northeast of the UK at Shildon. And I was there for the Great Goodbye, which was the final part of bringing together the 6 remaining A4s for the Great Gathering event. Now, I've covered it a couple of times on the channel, but I'm just going to go very quickly through the catalogue. Hornby sponsored the event, and in 2013 they brought out a commemorative set of locos, 6 locos here. You can see we've got Mallard, Union of South Africa, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Dominion of Canada, Bittern and Nigel Gresley. If you bought all 6 of these, you could send away for a display cabinet. And the locos were limited to 500 units each. Now, I am going to point out Dominion of Canada here, and this will become important in a moment. You can see it in garter blue, you can see it with the bell, you can see it with the single chimney. That is how it was displayed at the Great Gathering. I'll bring in the 2014 catalogue. Interesting to see, £8 back then. And Hornby then re-released the 6 locos, which I thought was a little bit cheeky, as the Great Goodbye. So having limited them to 500, there's now 1,000 of these units, but with slightly different packaging saying the Great Goodbye. But again, you could send off for the cabinet, but with the Great Goodbye on there rather than the Great Gathering. I thought that was a bit cheeky. I didn't buy these either. So back to the story. I now find myself in Shildon, caught up in the moment of one of the best days I've had at the Steam Museum ever, looking at these 6 Gresleys, 2 of them, one of them in light steam, one of them running up and down the line, and went inside, and there's this limited edition box set, and I thought to myself, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that. It's one of those impulse buys. And if I open this up, you can see inside Locomotion, Mallard 75, the Great Goodbye, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Dominion of Canada, made by Bachmann, in a box set together. These are the 2 visiting locos, one obviously from the US, one from Canada, and this is set number 7 of 14, so really exclusive set, and it's got the date on here, which is the 15th of February 2014. And I got caught in the moment, and I bought this. Now, I believe I paid a lot of money for it. I can't really remember the exact figure, but I think it was around £300. And I thought, what a lovely set to remind me of the day that I'd had there. And yeah, I really did treat myself and splashed out on this. Lovely box, lovely set of locos, lovely certificate. So let me just deal with the good side of things. So I've had a look online, and I cannot find this set for sale anywhere. I can't even find a reference to it. There is a Bachmann reference, product reference number. I can't find it anywhere. And being 7 of 14, this is, let's say it's an exclusive set. Is it as exclusive as I think it is? Probably not. Is it as collectible as I think it is? Probably not. But having looked through, I cannot find a Bachmann set of locos with Dwight D. Eisenhower and Dominion of Canada in a box set together. I don't think it's been done before or since. So yeah, it's quite a nice set. Was it worth the money? Well, at the time I thought it was, and I was really pleased to have it, and it came home with me. I had a quick look at the locos, and then I closed the box, and there it sat for 10 years. And I thought to myself, well, 10th anniversary of when I was actually there, let's do a video and a review of the locos in this box. So when I opened it, I noticed Class A4 transatlantic visiting locomotives in BR livery. And then, having started to research this, if I lift this out the way, you see immediately Dominion of Canada here is in Brunswick green. Now, when it appeared at the Great Gathering, it was in the garter blue, and it had the bell fitted, and it had a single chimney on there. It also had side valances, and there's other little things on here. So the set that I had been sold, which was a commemoration set of the Great Goodbye, was actually the loco in the condition that it arrived in the UK before its cosmetic restoration. So I'm now 10 years on feeling a little bit disappointed in this set. But let me lift it out and show you a couple of other things. In the accessories pack here, you can see there is actually a bell in there. But when I open up the packaging, it has a double chimney, which I don't believe the bell was ever fitted with a double chimney. The second thing is, Dominion of Canada had I can't remember the name of the whistle, it had a certain type of whistle on there that was very distinctive. And then finally, on the side of the cab, the works plates were actually on the Dominion of Canada. They were fitted inside the cab because there was a crest originally on the side here. So already there's a lot of things wrong with this loco, even before considering the fact that it's not representative of the loco as it stood at the Great Gathering. So let me get both of these out of the box. Now, lying these side by side, there is absolutely no difference between these models. Apart from the number and the name, these are exactly the same units. And I feel that's a little bit wrong. They've been packaged up, put in a nice shiny box with a certificate. So I now do, 10 years on, feel a little bit foolish to have got sort of pulled into the impulse buy of buying these two locos. Now, they're not particularly detailed. I'm just going to take one of these and bring it up to the camera. They're a good weight loco, but you can see the seam running down the centre of the boiler here. I must say the banding on them is a little bit better than the current Hornby 00 in terms of the paintwork, but you know, there's no sprung buffers on them. I suppose this was the standard 10 years ago. Things have improved. I mean, the cab's quite nice, it's quite detailed, it's not too bad. And they are nice locos, but as I say, I do feel a little bit foolish of being sort of sucked into that impulse buy. Right, so let's get into the details. So Dwight D. Eisenhower comes with the pack of bits in here. There's a coupling in there, there's some other little valance bits, and some vacuum pipes. It also got the braking linkages that can be added to the underneath of the loco should you wish. And the tender's got quite a nice weight to it. It's not, you know, there's obviously some weight in there, and it's nice to see no flashing down the side that I saw on the Hornby 00 models. And then the Dominion of Canada, let me just get that accessory pack from here, seems to have exactly the same units in there. But as I say, I'm not going to open these because they are sealed, but you can see the bell inside there, which is just a strange thing to do, because the bell was only ever fitted with a single chimney. As far as I can tell, it was only ever fitted with a single chimney, and it wasn't, I don't think it was ever fitted in this livery, in the Brunswick green, which was towards the latter running of the BR days. So why supply it with a bell? It just seems an odd thing to do. Right, let me just weigh the loco. So the body is weighing in at 354 grams, and with the tender, bring it up to 459. So not a bad weight loco. Don't know how it will run, we'll do that in a minute. But a couple of further comments about the loco. So the connection between the loco and the tender is on this rather horrible drawbar that you can see underneath here, and you thread it through the hole in the tender, and it kind of hooks over like so. I've already mentioned the cab, quite a nice detailed cab. You've got not a fixed pony truck on these like the Hornby locos, but more of this sort of sprung mounted affair on the wheels there, and no sprung buffers, which is a bit disappointing. Do have the number printed in the relief on the front here, and again on the buffer beam, which is quite nice. And as I've mentioned before, the actual painting on it's pretty good, it's not too bad at all. Finally, separately fitted handles. You can see them on the grab handles on the side here and down the side of the loco. The only thing I would say is they're sort of in and out, they're not particularly straight on there. And I've already mentioned obviously the seam line along the top of the boiler, which is a bit disappointing. The tender, again, separately fitted handrail, front and rear, which are pretty good. Got a nice little bit of detailing in here, but I said this on the Hornby 00, you know, you've gone to the trouble of painting the cab, why not pick out some of the features on here? It wouldn't take a lot to do. And the wheels themselves are all pretty fixed, so I don't know how this is going to run. But, so anyway, enough of the moaning. I mean, if this has done nothing else, it's a lovely set to open 10 years later, 15th of February. It's brought back a lot of memories and a fantastic event, and a once-in-a-lifetime thing to see. And to do this video, it's maybe go and look at the photographs, and, you know, it has brought back a lot of memories. I just feel 10 years on, when I've opened this and realised that Dominion of Canada is in its British Rail running guys, and it literally is a duplicate of the Dwight D. Eisenhower model there. I just think a little bit of effort could have gone into making this more relevant to the Great Goodbye. It just would have been nice. Anyway, let's get these over to the railway and let's get some detailed shots. 6008 Dwight D. Eisenhower is named after a general of the United States Army. It was the 19th of 35 A4s built for the London and North Eastern Railway. The loco itself was built in 1937 and was originally numbered 4496 and named Golden Shuttle. From the outset, it was painted in LNER garter blue with stainless steel trim on the base of the valances and on the tender. The numbers and LNER lettering on the tender were also stainless steel. During the war, 4496 carried wartime black livery, initially with LNER on the tender and then NE. It was after the war in 1946 that it was renamed to Dwight D. Eisenhower. Post-war, it returned to LNER garter blue, and then in 1950 it moved to British Railways dark blue livery. After nationalisation in 1948, British Railways renumbered it 6008, and it carried Brunswick green from 1951. The loco was retired from service in 1963 and moved to the National Railway Museum in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Obviously it came over to the UK in 2012 for the Great Gathering event and returned in 2014 back to its home in the United States. Dominican of Canada was the 11th of 35 A4s built for the London and North Eastern Railway. Originally numbered 4489, it was renumbered to 10 in 1946. In 1948, British Railways added 6000 to its number so that it became 60010. The loco was manufactured in 1937, and bizarrely for the first 2 weeks of its life it wore paint shop grey with apple green wheels. It was then repainted into garter blue livery. The coat of arms of Canada were on the side of the cab, and a CPR type bell mounted ahead of a single chimney. The bell was removed from the loco in 1957 when the loco was fitted with a new double chimney. During the war, Dominican of Canada, like most of the A4s, was repainted in wartime black, and as also with the others, started off with LNER and then moved to just NE on the tender. Post-war it regained its LNER garter blue livery. Then in 1950, British Railways dark blue with black and white lining was applied. And then finally in 1952, the loco was painted into Brunswick green. There's also a whole story about how the loco was stored at the Darlington sheds for a number of years, but again that's for another day. But eventually the loco was donated to the Canadian Railroad Historical Association, and in 1966 was removed to the Canadian Railway Museum in Quebec. For the Great Gathering event, Dominican of Canada was returned to its original LNER garter blue, with original number 4489, complete with side valances, a single chimney, stainless steel chrome, as well as the lettering and numbering, and it was also refitted with a Canada-style chime whistle and the commemorative bell that was originally moved when it was fitted with a double chimney. Right, let's have a look at the control of this loco. Not bad at all. So I'm just going to turn the power to half. Right, not too bad. Although that rear pony truck's derailed on the first set of points. It's not a good sign. Right, let's try again. A very noisy motor. Yeah, but to be fair, it's been sitting for 10 years, so probably could do with a bit of a service. Not too bad in terms of control, but I am worried it's definitely the tender is derailing on the points. Right, I'm going to go to the other layout and give both of these locos a little bit of a run and see what they're like. Well, the first thing to say is I've had both of these locos going around on the layout for about an hour now while I've been filming. Not a single derailment, which is absolutely unheard of for my track. I mean, my track's not good, there's lots of points on there, and anything I run on there eventually does derail. Neither of these have done, and they're beautiful, beautiful runners. And I hope you agree they look really good going around with the Teak coaches. I really enjoy running those, so that was really good. But back to the question in hand, was I ripped off? Well, absolutely not. I got two beautiful locos in a presentation box with a certificate, numbered 7 of 14, so only 14 in this run, bought on the day of a very special event with the date on the certificate, something quite special to keep, and I would like to think some of the proceeds went towards a museum. Am I a little bit disappointed? Well, on 10 years on opening the box and not realising for all these 10 years that the Dominion of Canada isn't reflective of its livery on the day of the Great Goodbye or Great Gathering, a little bit disappointing, but not the end of the world. Will it have held its value? Probably not. I very much doubt it. I think I paid, like I said earlier, I think it was around about £300. I wouldn't expect anywhere near that now. I mean, these locos, if you buy them in just a normal packaging, they're probably about £60–70 if you're lucky. You know, so two of these together, it's not going to be anywhere near £300. But do I have any regrets? Absolutely not. If I hadn't have bought these, I wouldn't be doing this video right now. I wouldn't have been reflecting on what I was doing 10 years ago today, and I wouldn't have gone through and looked at all the photos and brought those smiles back to my face on seeing all 6 of those A4s together. Once in a lifetime event, and so pleased I went, and so pleased really on reflection that I did buy this, because as I say, it has brought back some very, very nice memories. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. It makes my day when I see that somebody's pushed the button. It means they've enjoyed the video. And if you can subscribe, please do have a look on the channel. There's lots of videos on there, lots of different subjects, and if you can subscribe, I'd also be very, very grateful. And I'll just finally say, you know, last year was the 85th anniversary of Mallard's record-breaking run at 126 mile an hour. Wouldn't it be great in 15 years time to see all 6 of the A4s back together again for the 100th anniversary? That would be a really fantastic thing, so I'll leave that one as a thought for you. Anyway, with that said, we'll leave this one there. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.